Hi guys, this is Stephen and Estelle here, and we have Steve Wood who joins us today for a discussion about a Lagoon 52. Steve and Cindy own one, have lived aboard on and off on the boat for many, many years, and they have been to many of our rendezvous, which is where we got to know each other in the Bahamas. Had great times together, raced each other several times. And so I thought it'd be a great discussion to have Steve here today because we have a Lagoon 52 for sale. And I just wanted to talk to Steve. He knows these boats quite intimately and have done long stints on the boat, has fixed and tinkered with every component on the boat, I'm sure. So Steve, welcome.
Good morning or afternoon.
Yeah, you're in California, right? So a little bit after I had.
Well, Wind Palace is a gorgeous boat.
Yeah.
And
we look on video
a lot of anchorages together.
We have.
So Steve, tell us a little bit about the boat. How does the boat perform in your opinion?
It performs for a boat that size and weight. We had a choice of either, I don't want to call it speed or comfort. And look, if you look at our age, we're more in the comfort category than the speed category. And
although you say that when you're racing us.
Well, we don't take any water off. In fact, we tend to fill up with water and fuel. But we do have a I guess, what do you call it? A spinnaker for the boat. And I've been meaning to put the block up on the mast, and I've just been putting it off and putting it off. And last year's race, I said, that's it this year. We're going to use it. So the boat does need it, by the way. Downwind, it's not very fast, but for a comfort boat, it ticked all our boxes. All, electric winches, furling code 0, lazy, the main, what can you call it? The stack pack. Between 6 air conditioners and the generator and the water maker. It's very easy to go away for 3, 4, 5 months on this boat. There's only 2 of us, so we have 4 staterooms, so it leaves a lot of, we stay in the owners on the right side, and then we just fill the boat up with 3, 4 months of food, and away we go. And it does what we need it to do. And it's got television. I mean, we just took our apartment, put it on the water. So it's a very easy boat to enjoy, and we're comfortable with it. And it sails, it sails fine for us. Like I said, we had.
I mean, the boat not slouch. I remember the last rendezvous when we had the windward legs. You pretty much beat the fleet, So it just depends on the weather and the wind.
It did. A lot of that had to do, did you want to go right or go left? We went right, everybody went left. And he says, wow, did we make the right decision? Well, yes, in that case it did. It's not a light air boat.
Right.
We've had the boat up to 13 knots, and it scared the living daylights out of us.
Yeah.
We had all the sails up, and a big puff of wind came by, and it was, well, okay. Time to reduce some sail, but 8, 9 knots all day long.
That's a good point there, Steve, because a lot of cruisers, especially cruisers who've never sailed or just sail on doing charters and so forth, all have the performance thing in their mind, and that's why I'm asking you about performance. Performance is for boats like ours or like yours is we sail well enough in a good breeze, but with less wind, not so much. But as you very aptly said, that when you start sailing fast, it gets a little scary on these big boats.
If you've never sailed before, or at least had a monohull, and at least with the monohull, when it gets windier, the boat just leans over more and more and more. You get weather hail more and more. The boat's telling you, stop doing it. On a catamaran, you don't get a warning. The only warning you get is when the mast falls off, and you kind of got to, you like some before that. If you can feel the power in the boat, you can feel the sail, you can feel the vibration, you can feel the water going by, and you can just look at the rigging and go, time to take down sail. You could just tell that, but if you don't have that feeling, and I could see a charterer who never sailed before jumps on the boat and goes, wow, 6 knots, 10 knots, 20 knots, the boat doesn't lean over. Well, at some point it either will or something's going to happen. So
You'll lean over.
yeah, flying a hull on a 52 would be quite a sight, but
you know, Steve, the thing to consider, I mean, and you know, we've been cruising now for 30 years, is that if you average out the time that you're at anchor and the time that you're actually sailing or making a passage, we did it once, it's like 3% of the time. I mean, if you're a real wild sailor and you really sail a lot, maybe you'll get to 5% of the time. So we look at it and say, well, you know, we want to have a performance boat. And I know those Lagoon 52s, they go. We crossed the Atlantic with one. They are not slow boats. But, you know, we're looking at the 95% of the time when we want to be comfortable and relaxed. So, you know, I don't think that the speed is that great an issue, as long as you can do 200 miles a day, and that Lagoon 52 can accomplish that with ease.
The only place where you're going to struggle is obviously the lighter air, but then
Well,
you know, we have a
iron
code 0 and, like you say, spinnaker, and so that makes
and then you have an iron Genoa.
ooh. Yeah, maneuverability, it's, you know, twin engines, you can spin within yourselves. You know, people, you know, would you want a bow thruster? Yeah, I probably about 1 out of 20 times I'd like to have one. I don't have one, but in your mind, you have to compensate for it. You have to just know before you go to dock the pluses and how does your boat back up? How does your boat go forward? How does your boat, once you know all that, you can compensate for a bow thruster. But
the rudders are behind the propellers, right?
Yeah,
so
the 52.
Yeah, so that makes it a little more difficult, no?
So
Easier, sorry, easier.
Heavily windage boat. I mean, it's a box in the water when it comes to wind. But you know, just you know that going in, and you've done it a couple dockings. It doesn't have to be the white knuckle, you know. We, you know, we're not, you know, we're not full. We don't live on the boat full time. That's why we have a house in Fort Lauderdale, and so 3 to 6 months. The boat does exactly what we want to do. We just decided there's 700 islands in the Bahamas. We've probably been to 10. So, so knowing that, and we always thought about, well, we want to sail down to the BVI and come back again. I go, well, you know, it's going to take you about 5 weeks to get there, and then you're going to want to spend a couple of months there and coming back. We just decided Turks and Caicos is probably the lower end of where we're going to go with the boat. And boy, the boat is perfect for that. We just, you know, this is it. This is our last boat. This is.
This boat can obviously is capable of making good passages, long ocean passages, but it's rightly, as you say, also is that you have to, when you buy a boat, you have to understand what your application is going to be. So, you know, if you want to just day sail, you're obviously not going to spend a whole bunch of money on a fully kitted out boat and so forth. But yeah, I mean, and a lot of people don't think about that. And the other thing that we found lately is that everybody put so much stuff on their boats before they even set sail. Have ever set sail, and I feel that people just overcapitalize on their boats in a lot of areas. But a lot of people have never even sailed their boats, so they really don't 100% know what they want or need.
No, you were mentioning about that we were sailing. We go to the Turks and Caicos. The boats, not us. The previous owner had the boat on the Ark twice, so we went from Portugal. Back over, and so the boat's been more than we have. So
right,
clearly, all of a sudden we purchased the boat in Portugal and had it brought back on its bottom. So it's certainly ocean-worthy, capable, built like a tank, which is, you know, at 58,000 pounds.
Yeah, yeah, that's a little weight.
It's a little weight. You were mentioning solar panels. We just solar panels. We see all the installations, most everybody puts them on the back of the boat, this big flat panel on the back, and it just kind of ruins the lines of the boat for us. And so while it's the most practical, but in the fact that we don't live on it, we actually do have solar panels, only I lay them out on the trampoline. I got 6 of them. We lay them on the trampoline when we get to the anchorage, and then we take them off when we go sailing. And it takes about 20 minutes to put 6 panels out and take the 6 panels back. So we get about 60 amps of solar when the sun's hitting on them, which is about what we draw, because we draw about 50 amps all the time, because we went and got 3 additional freezers, put another permanent freezer, got 5 freezers, 2 refrigerators. Because when you go away for 4 months, you kind of sort of need the freezer capacity.
Right.
And then as we use up one freezer, we turn it off, and then that gets down. But we do have to run the generator. We did put lithium batteries on the boat last year.
Yeah.
And so we get about an hour and a half in the morning and an hour and a half an hour and a half in the afternoon. But when it gets really hot, we want the air conditioner. So the generator runs about 5-6 hours in the afternoon. So we tend to use a lot of diesel, and we carry 8 5-gallon jugs, in 4 in the footwell and 4 down below, just in case we need it, because we don't want to run out of diesel, because we got to have the air conditioning running.
Well, we have on our boat, we have all our solar panels on the top of the roof.
Yours are built in. You don't even look like you have solar panels.
Exactly. So, and I kind of like that. You know, it's I also don't like the installation on the back, but you know, it's different for everybody, I'm sure. But definitely, the lithium batteries changed our lives in our boat for sure.
Yeah.
No, it added extra battery chargers, so we want to get the generator runtime down. So.
Yeah.
You know, you want to keep the boat, you know, it's also the KISS principle. I mean, when you put so much technology on and something goes wrong, you can't fix it, you know. So you want to keep it as basic as, look, if you're going to just be cruising around the bay and not around the world, then you can get a technician on board, you know. But if you're going to go extended cruising, you've got to have a boat that you can handle, you know, that you understand the systems. And the Lagoons, I mean, you know, they've built a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're reliable, they're robust boats. I mean, they're very well found boats. And Lagoons are surprisingly fast boats. I mean, we owned that 450, and I was surprised at how fast that boat was. So, you know, the 52 is sort of the same thing. You know, it doesn't look fast, but it covers distance.
So, Steve, talk to me about accommodation. Do you have a 4-cabin or an owner's version?
It's the 4. They kind of 4-cabin owner's version. So the owner's version is in the starboard aft hull. It's a little bit bigger, and then they have the guest cabin, the outside cabin on the port aft. That's pretty large.
Yeah.
And then the 2 forward cabins, which, you know, we just use for storage. The generator sits forward center of the boat. So if those 2 forward cabins back up against the generator room. So if the generator's running, it's pretty well padded, but you know something is running on the other side of that bulkhead.
Right.
So most people we've had on the boat is another couple. That's perfect for us. You could have 4 couples. It's you know,
it's comfortable enough.
Yeah. Two is manageable because they have their own outside stateroom. They can come and get in the boat. They go to the kitchen. They got their own head and shower. They can go on the aft deck, and we don't know it. So that boat is perfect for that.
Yeah. And you have the flybridge version?
We have the flybridge, and boy, that was a big selling feature. I mean, that's you see in all directions. You're up high. That. A lot of people don't like the flybridge, and quite honestly, when we had our Lagoon 450 Sport Top, we loved the Sport Top. But now that we have a flybridge, I don't think I will go back to a Sport Top again.
Very difficult.
Honestly.
I mean, that flybridge is really a feature. You know, and when you go above 50, you pretty much got to go to a flybridge. Otherwise, you're wasting a huge amount of real estate.
And it becomes a social spot. Where does everybody go?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's where the breeze is, you know.
Yeah.
That's where the breeze is.
So, Steve, in general, do you think this is a good boat to own, as far as you can easily? And I know you're a bit of a tinkerer, that you can easily enough fix systems if anything goes down.
Oh yeah, we have a complete spare. Yeah. As you know, the Schreiber system gets a little cranky from time, so I have a full set of Schreiber modules at the program. So I'm happy with it. It's a very central part of the boat because most of the boat runs through that. People ask, well, how can you handle such a big boat? Well, that's why we have machinery. We have electric winches, we have furling sails, we have twin engines, we have the electronic controls, which work really well till they don't. But fortunately, knock on wood, those are still working. But it's a boat, and like anything, it's it's going to break. It's going to break somewhere out there, and you kind of got to sort of have some sort of hands-on repairability. Not just Lagoon, any boat you buy. I mean, it's not like a car that sits in your garage and you go away 6 months later and you come back and the car starts up and maybe you got a dead battery. Amazing how a boat just sitting there, everything worked when you left, and when you come back, I don't want to say nothing works, but it's usually it's easy stuff to fix. But I see people out there who really not even have a screwdriver, and they like, help, I need, well,
Yeah, you've got to have a little bit of MacGyver mentality to figure out stuff and be able to sort of get a stopgap repair until you can get to a place where you can get the right parts. Again, simple. If you keep it simple, you really have much better chance of having a pleasant cruising experience versus being dead in the water.
If you're going to take a boat the size of ours and you're going to want to go, if you buy a boat that big and you put that kind of money in, you're going to want to go someplace with it. At least mentally, you want to go across oceans, whether you get that far or not. But you got to take, if you don't know anything about a diesel engine, you got to take at least a simplified diesel engine course and a simplified electrical course. Just the simple, put two wires together and twist them. It just, the bilge pump quits. Why? Because the float switch is dead. Well, I don't have a float switch. Well, okay, fine. Twist the wires together and turn the pump on with a circuit breaker. You do have to have some MacGyver ability on the boat. You just.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Something, it's very rare to go away for 4 months, come back and see, well, nothing broke.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Look, that 52 is probably one of the most successful boats that Lagoon ever built. I mean, the 450 and the 52 are probably stand out as two of the most successful boats they've ever built.
I do remember
boats, right?
I remember going on a reach with you in your 450, and you were in front of me pulling away, and I was like, "What the heck am I doing wrong here?" That was the first.
So go ahead. No, I had the engine on, the one that you couldn't see.
Oh, okay.
The exhaust you couldn't see.
It's always a race out there. So again, Cindy is just a teeny little woman. And how easy or difficult is it for the two of you, just the two of you, to handle that boat?
Very easy, to the point where when we get away from the dock, she pulls the boat away. I'm the one running around on the deck, putting the lines out, putting the fenders up. She pulls the boat away. She pulls the boat in. When we anchor, she's the one driving. I'm the one on the bow with the windlass control. So yeah, it's, this simple hand sign, stop, forward, back, works fine. No yelling, no screaming.
Yeah.
40 years later, it must have worked because it's
fantastic.
Oh yeah, she can handle that boat very, very well. She understands the whole port forward, starboard aft, how to spin the boat, which way it goes when you move the throttles. Very easy.
So you have to work as a team like that. On our 54 as well, we work as a team. We know exactly what our functions are. There's no, but you didn't do that. But I know exactly what I'm going to do while I'm on the boat, and so does Stephen. So to have your specific the task and never deviating from that makes everything just that much easier, I think.
Yeah, we really don't say anything. We're going to go. And then we just off we go, and then okay, and all right, cocktail hour. So yeah.
So do you have any tips for first-time boat owners?
Don't do it.
Oh, it's the happiest day of your life, remember?
No. Well, I keep buying them, so we must. First, I always want to say, charter a boat, but if you charter a boat in the BVI, that's not really sailing or cruising. I mean,
Not the boat you're going to end up with,
But somehow you got to at least get out on a boat somewhere how do you even know what to buy? I mean,
Right.
You kind of got to try it. And then, how good are you at fixing things around the house? Can you fix a leak under your sink? Can you fix an electrical outlet in your house? And the answer is no. Then you probably need to go get some, a class on how to do that. It's just, unless you're just going to go from the marina to the out sailing and come back the same day. And if it broke, okay, fine. So just come on back in.
Yeah.
But when you're in the Bahamas and you're the only one around it's like,
Yeah.
So,
For sure. And you're going to spend a fortune on people fixing stuff if you don't know. At least be able to identify a problem, diagnose a problem.
but even if you have that wallet, you're in the Bahamas and your boat doesn't work, all the money in the world, it's like, you're going to fly the guy in.
Too true.
Look, the fortunate thing when you're cruising is that generally there are other cruisers out there, and cruisers help cruisers. So, that's always.
We've all experienced that at the rendezvous.
When, tough situation, everyone jumps in and helps.
Yeah.
So, that's a really good thing about cruisers. But, you can't always rely on that.
Well, I do remember I had to bum a check valve off of you for my generator.
I got it. You brought me some really, really nice Stella beer for that.
Yeah, there is a tax for that, right?
Yachting tax.
Anyway, Steve, well, it was lovely talking to you. Thank you for those tips. It's really good tips, and for telling us about your boat.
Well, hopefully we can bump into you on our way back from St. Martin with the Katana.
Oh my God, you're going to beat the pants off me with that boat. Okay.
Well, I've got a small dinghy, so we can have a dinghy race.
Oh, that'll work. That'll work.
All right, guys.
Please give my best to Cindy, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yes, you will. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Steve. Take care.
Interested in a Lagoon 52 for sale? Go to our featured yacht page and check out Terry Singh's listing.